Alert! In this video I will show that new events are at stake in the chess of world government. The world agenda is being accelerated. Subscribe to the channel. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said today that if a third world war occurs, it will be nuclear and destructive, and the last. Lavrov made the comments after an escalation in tensions following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which prompted Moscow to put its nuclear forces on high alert. He declared that Moscow will not allow Kiev to obtain nuclear weapons. According to the foreign minister, said Russia would face real danger if Kiev were allowed to obtain nuclear weapons. As we pointed out earlier, Russian TV presenter Dmitry Kiselyov, dubbed Putin's propaganda chief, already boasted about how our submarines, who no one knows where they are sailing, can fire over 500 nuclear warheads. This would guarantee the destruction of the US and all other NATO countries, he added. The circus of the West is about to catch fire. Meanwhile, Putin puts all Russia's nuclear force on DEFCON Level 1. In North American jargon, the term DEFCON, defense condition, is the term used to measure the level of readiness and defense of the armed forces. Serious concern about Russian President Vladimir Putin's very serious and irresponsible decision to put his entire nuclear force on high alert. Are you ready to drop an atomic bomb on Ukraine for its fierce resistance? These defense conditions describe progressive states of alert and readiness that are activated by the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Armed Forces commanders. DEFCON levels are adjusted based on the severity of the military situation. In times of peace, DEFCON 5 is activated, which decreases as the situation becomes more critical. Subscribe to the channel. DEFCON 1 represents the prediction of an impending attack and was never reached. Understand how they are organized. During the state of emergency, 7 levels of alert called LERTCON can be activated. The 7 LERTCONs correspond to 5 defense conditions, called DEFCONs, and 2 other emergency situations, called EMERGCONs. This Sunday, Vladimir Putin activated the alert equivalent to DEFCON Level 1, DEFCON 5. Consider the normal situation in times of peace. DEFCON 4. It refers to a situation where the activity of the intelligence services is slightly increased and the national security measures are reinforced. This level was maintained throughout most of the Cold War and during the Crimean crisis. DEFCON 3 implies an increase in the availability of forces above normal. The U.S. military reached this alert level in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The entire United States Army went to DEFCON 3 for the second time during the Yom Kippur War in 1973. This level was reached for the third time during the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center in New York. DEFCON 2. It is assigned when the level immediately below the maximum is reached. It was only declared twice when the Cuban Missile Crisis was taxed and in the initial phase of Operation Desert Storm during the Gulf War. This would be the previous step to a nuclear war. DEFCON 1. It is the highest alert level. It was never used by the United States. Russia activates its nuclear force. Surprisingly, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered his country's deterrent forces that include nuclear weapons to be placed on high alert. However, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki stated that this is part of a larger pattern of unproduced escalation and fabricated threats by the Kremlin. This is really a pattern that aims to make President Putin is making threats that don't justify the American people more, said aggression, and a Putin community is using this conflict throughout. That from ABC in This Week. This is all a pattern of President Putin and we have the ability to defend ourselves, but we must also denounce that we are seeing President Putin here. Asked about military aid are located, the most basic devices to send military supplies to the United States and the internal devices to send more military supplies to the United States, with the latest announcements of an integrated military system since the conflict of a community global, said Psaki. Psaki added that the United States remains in close contact with Ukrainian Volodymyr Zelensky and commended him for his leadership throughout the early days of the current war. He sets out to lead the leadership of President Putin and the Russian leadership, he said. We will remain in close contact with him, he said. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications, to receive new videos.